Yo, what's up everyone, it's Crooked here, and today I have the privilege of bringing you the first episode of my Top 5 Top 10 series. This series is also the first non-battle, non-league style series on the channel, so that's super exciting as well. Before we get started, I just want you to remember that everything on this list is my opinion, and you are certainly welcome to have your own if you don't agree with what I say. If you have something you'd like to discuss, just leave it down in the comment section below. Also remember to stay Koopa by hitting that like button as well if you like what you see. This week I'll be discussing my top 10 wish list for the kind of Pokemon I want to see in Sun and Moon. What do I mean by kind of Pokemon, you may ask? Well, what I mean is that almost every Pokemon is based on something from the real world, or from lore, but you get the idea. Whether it be animals, inanimate objects, food, weather, immortal beings, etc., etc. Game Freak bases their Pokemon on things we see, hear, or read about. This wish list is my top 10 things that I want to see be made into Pokemon for Sun and Moon. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number 10 this week is the Hummingbird. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, know that the Alola region in Sun and Moon is based on Hawaii. Although hummingbirds aren't strictly native to Hawaii, the color schemes and overall thought of hummingbirds really fits in with the kinds of things we associate Hawaii with. On top of that, we don't even have a hummingbird Pokemon yet, so getting one now would be awesome, I think. Here are some designs I found online that I thought would be sweet to see in a Pokemon game. The first set here shows an evolution line used in a game called Pokemon Sage. It's a fan-made game still in development, but it's definitely worth checking out. I think these hummingbirds are extremely well designed and thought out. They definitely make me want to use them. The next set shows another evolution line created by MTC Studio. I enjoy the color scheme on these birds, but maybe adding a little more color or some extra design could be beneficial too. Imagine running into the first stage though. Dude looks like he's struggling. He's like, "Please help me." This last design was done by DJ's Art 1993. But before you say anything, yes, I know, it's not a hummingbird evolution line. It actually resembles more of a condor, in fact, like Mandibuzz. However, I think adding something like this into Sun and Moon would be amazing. Very well designed. Now for the typing that I would give these birds, obviously flying would be the first choice. Pairing that with grass seems fitting, although not likely, considering Rowlet has already been announced as grass flying already. Maybe adding the fairy type would be cool. In fact, I might even step out and say give it grass fairy as its typing and just let it be able to use fly. I don't know. I think fairy flying is better here. As for the stats, I think these birds should be fast and have great special attack. On Wikipedia, hummingbirds are known to hover in midair at rapid wing flapping rates, typically around 50 times per second, allowing them to also fly at speeds exceeding 15 meters per second, which is equal to 34 miles per hour backwards. What? 34 miles per hour backwards? That's insane. Usain Bolt can't even run that fast forward. This is why I think a hummingbird Pokemon would have a high speed stat. Now depending on the typing, these hummingbirds can use moves like Giga Drain and Energy Ball for a grass type, Hurricane and Air Slash for a flying type, or Dazzling Gleam and Draining Kiss for a fairy type. Abilities for the grass flying could be or could include Chlorophyll and Leaf Guard, and for the fairy flying, Fairy Aura or Natural Cure would be neat. Finally, for the grass fairy, we'll mix the two and just say Chlorophyll and Natural Cure. Number 9 goes to something that may look a bit familiar. For this spot, I decided to go with a Wasp or Hornet. Yes, I know. Crooked, we have Beedrill, and that thing is basically a Wasp-y Hornet thing anyway. Yeah, that's true, I guess. But still, I want to see a full-on Wasp or Hornet Pokemon. Also, if you're thinking about Ninjask, he's a Cicada, not a Wasp or a Hornet. This concept art by Smiley Fakemon is out of this world. He calls it Darrinet, and this thing is absolutely baller. And I would love to see something like this in Sun and Moon. I didn't find a whole lot of stuff where pre-evolutions are concerned, but I did find this little larva worm thing done by Nutri, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Now it looks similar to Weedle, but it's just different enough that I think it's okay. If Darrinet had this thing as a pre-evo, I could see something like a Magikarp Gyarados or Feebas Milotic thing happening, instead of your general early game bug type. Maybe a trainer is stuck with this pre-evo until like level 20, like Gyarados, or until the trainer does something insane to it with the Milotic. Or you could just trade it with some random new item. If Darrinet, or something like it, were to come to Sun and Moon, I think it would obviously be bug type. And as for a secondary typing, I'm not exactly sure, but honestly thinking about it, I think this Wasp could be our first bug dark type. Yes, I know, adding another dark type only gives it that much more in weaknesses, but still, that typing would be awesome, and like I said, it's the first one. Now, the stats on this thing can vary, I think. It could be a great physical attacker with moves like Sucker Punch, Night Slash, U-Turn, and X-Scissor to match it, or it could go with special and have moves like Bug Buzz, Dark Pulse, and Tail Glow. Either way, I think this Pokemon absolutely needs access to Sucker Punch, Knockoff, and U-Turn. But I'm mainly just saying that from a competitive standpoint. Overall, a Pokemon of this caliber should have high speed with either high attack or high special attack, or be mixed with an even amount of both. As for abilities, Poison Touch, Adaptability, and Tinted Lens are all great ideals. On a side note, check out this fusion of Beedrill and Escavalier I found by Dark Sylvania. Just look at it. Look at it. Sorry, moving on. Number 8 is something I've been looking for ever since I saw Aerodactyl in Red and Blue. A Gargoyle. Yes, that's right, a Gargoyle. Gargoyles are generally pretty awesome, and their name is hard to say, with the exception being the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
No question of she's gotta love a guy like you.
Please, no. More like that TV show Gargoyles. Yeah, that's better. Again, for Wikipedia, gargoyles are said to frighten off and protect those that it guards. Gargoyle is generally used to describe any monstrous sculpture. Frighten off, protect, and monstrous. Those words make it sound like a Pokemon or what? Much like golems, no, not golem, but rather golems like Golett and Golurk, gargoyles are creatures that protect. So if we can make golems into Pokemon, we can do the same with gargoyles, right? Here are some designs I found for gargoyle-styled Pokemon. This first evolution line was done by MTC Studio. I really like this idea and this design. They look quite fierce and look like they could fit in so well with the games. Also, I really like the names MTC Studio came up with. They're so powerful. Also, with only one stage of evolution, maybe they could be Sun and Moon's fossil Pokemon. Next, these designs were done by Barbert Bra. Sorry if I butchered that. If you didn't think the last set could fit in with the designs, all of the other Pokemon, these definitely could. I also really like the idea of the dragon look and the typing they gave these. Oh man, I wish these were real. I think these kind of Pokemon would easily be rock type. As for a secondary typing, I could see flying, like Aerodactyl, and what Gargor and Gargravel provided, or dragon, like Bobbert Bra's designs. As far as stats are concerned, I could see these gargoyles having high physical attack paired with moderate speed and high physical defense. For moves, they would definitely get access to moves like Fly, Stone Edge, and Dragon Claw, if Dragon, of course. In the instance of the flying type, access to the likes of Sky Attack and Acrobatics are a must. Plus, I think it would make sense for Game Freak to come up with a more physical flying type moves like Brave Bird, but without recoil, to use, so that we don't have the same problem we have with Aerodactyl and Dragonite, and the lack of flying stab moves. Also, giving the Dragon type Outrage is a good idea. I feel like Intimidate is a must for a fierce rock-flying gargoyle. And as a secondary ability, the dragon variety could have Levitate to keep from being hit by super effective ground type attacks. Sitting at number 7 on this list, that's right, it's a samurai. Now I know what you're thinking, but Crooked, we have Bisharp, that's kind of a samurai, right? Well, no, he's actually a knight. Well, what about Samurott? I mean, it's in the name. Alright, you're right. However, Samurott doesn't do the greatest job representing a samurai. In my opinion, he just doesn't do the part justice. Please, don't shoot me. However, this design by Kuro Kikumo, again, excuse the butchering, does better for samurai looks. I added the swords. This design by Smiley Fakemon is also very good looking in my opinion. In fact, I think it'd be cool to mix the two designs. This pre-evo could either evolve into the sword samurai if it's a male, or into the other if it's a female. As for the typings of these marvelous creatures, I think the male should be ghost fighting, which would be the first of its kind. I think a typing like that deserves a place in the game, and who better to put it on than a samurai? As for the female, make it the first ghost fairy. Both of these types would be amazing in-game and in the metagame. I think the ghost typing, from the fact that samurai aren't really around anymore. They're more of a legend at this point. Fighting comes from the obvious fact that samurais, well, fought. Fairy is just something I thought would make a good secondary typing that wasn't fighting. Also, samurais were known to fight for the nobility and worked closely with the high-ranking officials. In Samurai Legend, there are many stories of warriors falling in love with the daughters of these high rulers, and they would often fight for them. Kind of like Keanu Reeves in that movie 47 Ronin. These daughters were most often depicted as being beautiful and, well, almost fairy-like, one might say, and with Lunala being ghost psychic already, I thought fairy would be much more fitting here. As far as stats go, the male would have high physical attack along with moderate defenses and HP. The female should be a special attacker similar to Frostlass, but with higher special attack than physical attack. She should have more moderate to high defenses and moderate HP. The male should get access to Bulk Up, Shadow Sneak, Drain Punch, and Shadow Claw, or some other ghost type physical attack that's stronger than Shadow Punch. As for the female, she should have access to Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, Shadow Ball, and Dazzling Gleam. Now for the abilities, the male version should get Shed Skin or Moxie, and the female should get Natural Cure or Cursed Body. I think those abilities would really fit well. Hey, get back here! Ugh. Well, in case you didn't guess it, number 6 goes to the Lemur. Now, we have been given a few monkey Pokemon, but I think it's time for a Lemur.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it.
No, not those guys. Now why don't you just move it right on out of here. Of course, lemurs are native to the island of Madagascar, but Hawaii is an island too, or chain of islands. They may not have the giant branchy trees Madagascar has, but I'm sure palm trees will work just fine. Maybe. Okay, maybe I'm stretching just a bit, but who cares, right? Anyway, I think a lemur Pokemon would make a great addition to the Pokemon world. They're great with people, and they're just so darn cute. I mean, look at these designs I found on PokeFanon. Can I please have this thing? Anywho, these lemur Pokemon by Lewis Brain are also quite wonderful to look at. I would definitely use Primasham on my team. Now for typing, you could just go with about anything. Normal seems to be too obvious, but is plausible. Now we've already got fire, water, grass, monkeys. So if those types are used, let's at least add a secondary typing. Going back to Primasham, adding Psychic to grass would be a great idea. We haven't had a grass Psychic type since Celebi all the way back in Gen 2, and only Execute and Executor share that typing with it. If Fire is the type to go with, give it an added Normal or Fighting type. I know, Normal is a secondary, didn't really work out so great for Pyroar. Well, kind of, but still, I think we can make this thing work. Make it physical with moves like Return and Flare Blitz, and bam, it's a force to be reckoned with. And I know, we have enough Fire fighting, no Fighting type. As for stats, Grass Psychic Lemur would need some speed and special attack as its highest stats, with maybe a little bit placed in physical attack for some extra usage. The Fire Normal type would, as mentioned before, have high physical attack. Paired with the highest speed stat, it can rival the likes of Darmanitan and Entei. It would also be able to outclass Pyroar. Sorry Pyroar, but I still love you. A Grass Psychic Lemur could benefit from adaptability, although what couldn't, or Infiltrator. The Fire Normal variety could have Reckless to boost moves like Double Edge and Flare Blitz, or Unnerve. This number 5 spot has a tie. I just couldn't choose between two for a spot, so I put them both in number 5. They are the Snow Wolf and the Snow Leopard. These designs by Zerudez and Dragonith just have me crying with hope. Please, Game Freak. I think we all want these. I just can't get over how beautiful they are. Plus, Game Freak is all about keeping it close to home with dogs and cats each gen. Almost, I think. So why not make these those? I mean, you could make the wolf specific to moon. You know, because they howl at the moon. Yeah, okay, whatever. And you could make the leopard specific to sun. The primary typings for these, I think, are pretty obvious. They would be ice type. The secondary typing, however, could be different for each. For the wolf, I think dark type fits very well. Yes, I know, another quad weak ice type, but either way it fits. Make it a physical powerhouse and give it good speed? Please. Faster than Luxray. As well as decent HP. The ability for this hard-hitting Wolfie could either be Snow Cloak or Strong Jaw to power up its biting moves. As for the Leopard, the secondary typing could be either Rock or Ground. Since Rock is another quad weakness, and it makes for the worst combo in the game to date, I'm looking at you, Aurorus. Ground should be the go-to secondary. Make this beautiful creature also a physical attacker, but with decent defenses and HP to go along with its huge attack. Also, moderate speed works just fine. Good abilities for this leopard include Sand Rush and a new ability I will call Snow Surge, which doubles speed in a snowstorm. This Pokemon could be able to abuse either a Sand team or a Snow team. How awesome would that be? With moves like Crunch, Ice Fang, Sucker Punch, and Ice Shard, the Wolf variant could make great use of its physical prowess, and as for the Leopard variant, it can have access to moves similar to its Wolf counterpart, but with Earthquake instead of Sucker Punch. Both of these should have access to Play Rough as well. Number 4. It's a red panda. And before you go off and say, "But Crooked, Spinda is a red panda," tell me the last time you actually used Spinda. I mean, seriously. Spinda straight up stinks. It leaves plenty of room for improvement. We're moving on now because that's all I'll say about Spinda. We need a new red panda Pokemon, and this concept art by Silverava is brilliant. I love it so much. Now yes, I realize making it yellow kind of defeats the purpose of it being a red panda, but still, it's red-ish. I did some hue editing in Photoshop, and honestly, I think the red looks absolutely beautiful. Red sparks and bolts coming from the body seem just as amazing as the yellow. This other art by Silverava, which is incomplete, shows a pre-evo that looks just as brilliant as its evolution. If this were a Pokemon, I don't think there's anyone that wouldn't use it. As for typing, I of course have my heart set on electric after setting eyes on Volpan. A secondary typing could be dark, or there could just be no secondary typing at all. I'd be okay with a pure electric, as long as it way outclasses Raichu. It could have fairy typing, but we just got an electric fairy in X and Y, and that day didn't pan out so well. Okay, moving on. The stats on this Pokemon should be different than your regular electric type. With the exception of a few, electric types are generally fast and hit on the special side. I kinda want this Pokemon to take a slightly different direction. Give it great HP and moderate to high defenses. Make it moderately fast and give it moderate special attack. Tack on a move like Tail Glow and you're all set. I know, I said moderate a lot in there. But anyway, this could basically be an electric version of Manaphy. Plus, its only weakness is ground, making it hard to hit directly for super effective damage. With Tail Glow, Volpan can take hits, set up, and start dishing out hard hits in return. For moves, give Volpan the general Thunderbolt and Volt Switch, but also, as I already mentioned, Tail Glow. It should also get Surf, Agility, and Focus Blast. Like I said, I better Raichu. The ability can be Volt Absorb or Cheek Pouch. This will allow Volpan to be a great switch into an electric type if you expect an electric type move, or you can put a berry on it and gain back health along with whatever the use of the berry is. Claiming the number 3 spot is none other than the Tiger. No, I don't mean Frosted Flakes, even though they are awesome. Aw, what? You just thought I was gonna say, nah. Anyway, this art that I found on Pinterest is just great. Yeah, okay, that was cheap, I know, but hey, you asked for it. Anyway, I realize Arcanine and Raikou may look like tigers, but the fact is they aren't. Arcanine is a dog. It's right there in the name, canine. And Raikou is in fact a saber-tooth. Yes, technically a saber-toothed tiger, but it's more geared towards present-day tigers that I'm worried about here, not saber-toothed tigers that lived long ago. Now, I don't know whose art this is, just that it's on Pinterest. I love the idea for a fire tiger, and I really hope that we see that with Litten's final Evo. But if not, give us a freaking tiger. Fire or not, a tiger. Please and thank you, Game Freak. Tigers are powerful creatures and deserve to have a place in Pokemon. Types for a tiger include fire, of course, although we just got a fire lion. Either way, it's still cool for a tiger. I think an added dark type is a must as well. Going back to Litten, I really want to see it evolve into a fire dark tiger. I know there was a lot of speculation about Litten being fire ground and people think it's going to be a panther and whatnot, but a boy can still dream, can't he?
What do tigers dream of when they take a little tiger snooze? Do they dream of mauling zebras or...
Grass is also a possibility for tiger typing. This Tiger Lily art, done by Fake Make It, is absolutely genius. The color scheme intrigues me that it changes every evolution. Maybe they could make this Pokemon similar to the Florges line in X and Y, and that each colored patch of flowers could contain a different color variant of this Pokemon. I could see either Fairy or Poison being a good secondary typing. The stats of a Fire Dark variant should rival that of Arcanine. However, it should be faster than Arcanine, have more special attack and attack, but less defenses. It should get access to moves like Flare Blitz and Crunch for stab, as well as moves like Wild Charge and Play Rough for coverage. The Grass Fairy variant should be a physical attacker as well. It should have good speed to go along with a great physical attack stat. Moves to complement its stats could be Petal Blizzard and Play Rough, as stab and Crunch and Zen Headbutt for coverage. The Grass Poison could be similar to the Grass Fairy in stats, and with a similar move pool, exchanging Play Rough for Gunk Shot and Poison Jab. As for abilities, the Fire Dark type should have Flash Fire and Flame Body. I was trying to think of a name for an ability that's basically a burn variant of Poison Touch, and then give that to this, but I couldn't think of anything. The Grass Fairy type should have Chlorophyll and Sap Sipper, while the Grass Poison should have Chlorophyll and either Poison Point or Poison Touch. Number 2 goes to the Narwhal. Well, actually, it goes to Dolphin and Narwhal. I took these designs by Leafy Heart and edited them a bit. This pre-evolution will evolve into one of two things. It can either evolve into a Narwhal or a Dolphin. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Crooked, we've heard the Dolphin spiel already before on other channels. And yeah, I get that. But hey, it must be a big deal to make it on so many top 10s. I think that in being in a region with so much water, a Dolphin Pokemon is a must. Plus, who can't say that they've never wanted to ride on a Dolphin? Or a Narwhal for that matter. I mean, seriously, this is a must. So, I have chosen to give the Narwhal evolution the Water Dark typing. One can evolve the pre-evo into this Narwhal by using a Dust Stone. Next, I think the Dolphin should have the Water Psychic typing. Yes, I know the Narwhal has a competitive advantage over the Dolphin evo, but maybe you could give it Dazzling Gleam to counter the Dark typing. Anyway, use a Dawn Stone to evolve this Dolphin Pokemon. As for stats and moves, I think the Water Dark Narwhal should have high HP and physical attack, with moderate defense and special defense. Moves that work with this typing and these stats include Waterfall, Night Slash, and Crunch, and maybe Mega Horn and Poison Jab. The Water Psychic Dolphin, on the other hand, would be a bit more defensive. It should have high HP and great defenses with moderate special attack and speed. It should be granted access to moves like Surf, Scald, Psychic, and again, Dazzling Gleam. I think Swift Swim and Intimidate would work well for a Narwhal Pokemon, and Water Absorb and Magic Guard for the Dolphin variant. Game Freak, we need these. Now before we move on to our number 1 spot, here are some honorable mentions. Jackalopes. We have rabbit Pokemon already, and the ones we have actually get used and whatnot. However, I think it'd be so cool to see a Jackalope variant. Do you agree? Komodo dragons have always intrigued me in a way that they look and in their name. I think a Komodo dragon would be cool, just not quite top 10 cool. These next 3 are all equal for me. We have deer, but not moose. We have goats and sheep, but not rams. We have... well, actually, I'm not sure, but we don't have llamas. I think adding all 3 of these to a Pokemon game would be sweet. Last are the peacocks. Similar to the Hummingbird section, I think peacocks need to be a thing in Pokemon. However, they just didn't quite make the top 10 cut for me. Now, it's time for our number 1. Coming in at the number 1 spot is none other than... wait, what? You're telling me that they already came out with a koala Pokemon? Yeah. In case you live under a rock and have been missing all the hype, Game Freak just unloaded a huge new Pokemon, Nekowala. Originally, this animal was in my number 1 spot. Originally meaning that since they just gave us one, it's now irrelevant for this top 10. But just to clarify, Game Freak, you made my week with this thing. Anyway, coming in at the new number 1 spot is none other than the Kangaroo. I'll be honest, I'm glad this got to be in the top 10. It was actually originally only in my honorable mentions, having been beat out by the koala. So now I'm super excited to talk about this. Let's be honest for a moment here and think about something. Kangaskhan. This thing is supposed to be a kangaroo. It's not. It's a failed attempt. There are certain similarities with the whole pouch thing. Maybe assuming Kang is a marsupial of some sort isn't too far off. But a kangaroo? We cannot say such things. It's time to redeem yourself, Game Brig. Bring us kangaroos. This artwork by Fantastic Fakemon and this by Glitch Goat show great examples of what we could, or should, see in a kangaroo Pokemon. I definitely think fighting is the necessary typing for one of these creatures. Not normal. Maybe it can be fighting ground even. We don't have any of those, so it could be the first of that typing. Stat wise, it could be fast with a high attack stat and can be complemented by moves like Drain Punch, high jump kick, earthquake, and bounce. As for abilities, it could have Iron Fist and gain access to all the elemental punches, guts, or hustle. I think a Pokemon like this could really benefit from these abilities. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Who was your favorite on this list? Who were you hoping to see but didn't get to? Let me know down below, and please remember that these are only my opinions, something everyone is entitled to. I won't hate you for your opinions, so please don't hate me for mine. If you agree or disagree with something I said in this video, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Also, tell me what your top 5 or top 10 would be. Maybe you think we need all animals, or maybe we need all animate objects. Who knows? Maybe you could change my mind on one of these that I've chosen in this video. So again guys, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy this video, stay Koopa by smashing that like button down below and sharing with your friends. If you wish to see more content like this, as well as competitive battling that I do on my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. I'll also be doing some Nuzlockes in the near future. As always, stay Koopa, and I'll see you next time.